I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats. When I tell you that it's hard, I just mean to be inside my brain. And I'm there 24/7, I can't get out of it. I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have, but it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Disney's Snow White remake is spiraling into what could be its most catastrophic flop yet. With an eye-watering budget exceeding $200 million, the film's struggles go far beyond the usual production hurdles. The controversy surrounding its lead, Rachel Zegler, has turned anticipation into widespread outrage. How did this fairy tale turn into a nightmare? And can Disney possibly rescue what's shaping up to be its most embarrassing misstep to date? Stay tuned, because the drama is only just beginning to unfold. Rachel Zegler burst onto the Hollywood scene with her stunning debut in West Side Story, captivating audiences and critics alike. But even in those early days, subtle signs of trouble were beginning to surface. In interviews, Rachel openly admitted to grappling with imposter syndrome, sharing statements like, "I'm constantly pinching myself." At first, this vulnerability made her seem down-to-earth and relatable, but her social media presence soon painted a much more divisive picture. When she wasn't invited to the 94th Academy Awards, despite her film receiving multiple nominations, Rachel took to Twitter with a sarcastic jab, claiming she'd be stuck at home in sweatpants. What might have seemed like a lighthearted comment instead struck many as entitled and ungrateful. And if that wasn't enough, Disney swept in to save the day by offering her a presenting role at the ceremony, a move that felt more like damage control than a genuine reward. By then, the backlash had already started, and this marked just the tip of the iceberg. Fast forward to her stint in Shazam. Fury of the gods and the controversies only intensified. During a high-profile red carpet event, Rachel was asked why she took the role. A golden opportunity to talk about passion or artistry. Instead, she bluntly admitted, "I needed a job." While honesty is often appreciated, her response came across as tone-deaf and dismissive, especially for an event designed to celebrate the movie. What should have been a moment to shine only added fuel to the growing fire of public criticism. And the controversies kept piling up. Rachel made headlines again when she appeared wearing a top that many deemed not just bold but downright rude, igniting another wave of outrage. But here's where things took an even sharper turn. Fans began noticing a pattern. From her tone-deaf tweets to her off-putting interviews, Rachel's missteps weren't isolated incidents. They were quickly defining her public image. Then came the bombshell announcement. Rachel Zegler would star as Snow White in Disney's highly anticipated live-action remake. At first glance, it seemed like a daring and progressive casting choice. However, the backlash was swift and unforgiving. Critics and fans alike questioned whether Rachel could truly embody such an iconic character, and her public comments only deepened the skepticism. Rachel didn't hold back when talking about the original 1937 animated film. She openly called it outdated and brushed off its storyline as irrelevant for modern audiences. To make matters worse, she admitted she had only watched it once as a child because it scared her. Imagine that. The actress chosen to breathe new life into a cherished Disney classic, openly dismissing the film that started it all. But the controversy didn't end there. Rachel's remarks went beyond the film's themes. She also criticized the beloved love story at its core and raised eyebrows with her comments on the portrayal of the dwarves, fueling an already blazing fire of criticism. Fans felt betrayed, viewing her statements as dismissive of a cultural touchstone cherished by generations. What should have been a celebration of Snow White's legacy turned into a PR nightmare that just wouldn't quit. As the backlash intensified, Disney scrambled to rewrite the narrative and regain control. In an effort to sway public opinion, a Variety article attempted to paint Rachel as a misunderstood artist, and a target of unwarranted online hate. But instead of mending fences, the article had the opposite effect. It exploded in their faces. Critics didn't buy the narrative and slammed Rachel for what they saw as doubling down on her divisive attitude, instead of showing any real personal growth. And then came her so-called apology, which only added fuel to the fire. Fans were quick to dissect every word, and the consensus was brutal. They called it cold, robotic, and completely insincere. Social media lit up with scathing comments like, "She doesn't mean it," and "This is way too little, way too late." To make matters worse, the controversy brought up comparisons to past Disney scandals. Many referenced the firing of Gina Carano, accusing Disney of hypocrisy in how they handled their public-facing stars. Behind the scenes, things were spiraling into chaos. Disney officially blamed the ongoing actors' strike for delaying the film's release by a year, but insiders whispered a different tale. According to reports, the delays were more about damage control, an attempt to avoid an embarrassing box office disaster. With a staggering budget reportedly exceeding $200 million, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Snow White would need to gross at least $600 million just to break even, a nearly impossible feat given the storm of negative press surrounding it. But the troubles didn't end there. Rumors began circulating that parts of the film were scrapped and reshot, driving production costs even higher. As fans dug deeper, speculation ran wild. Could this be the start of a much larger problem for Disney? Some were already asking if the company's golden era was on the brink of collapse, and others wondered aloud if Snow White was about to become Disney's most infamous flop of all time. Things hit a boiling point when the much-anticipated trailer for the Snow White remake dropped, and the backlash was immediate. Garnering an astonishing 1.3 million dislikes, it quickly became clear that this wasn't just a vocal minority expressing their frustration. The hashtag #BoycottDisney started trending across social media, with fans venting their frustration and accusing the studio of being hopelessly out of touch with its audience. Rachel Zegler's behavior became the lightning rod for criticism, with many arguing that her actions had alienated the very fans Disney desperately needed to win back. But the troubles didn't end there. Rumors began circulating that parts of the film were scrapped and reshot, driving production costs even higher. As fans dug deeper, speculation ran wild. Could this be the start of a much larger problem for Disney? Some were already asking if the company's golden era was on the brink of collapse, and others wondered aloud if Snow White was about to become Disney's most infamous flop of all time. Things hit a boiling point when the much-anticipated trailer for the Snow White remake dropped, and the backlash was immediate. Garnering an astonishing 1.3 million dislikes, it quickly became clear that this wasn't just a vocal minority expressing their frustration. The hashtag #BoycottDisney started trending across social media, with fans venting their frustration and accusing the studio of being hopelessly out of touch with its audience. Rachel Zegler's behavior became the lightning rod for criticism, with many arguing that her actions had alienated the very fans Disney desperately needed to win back. And now, the burning question remains. Can Disney pull off a last-minute save, or is this the swan song for their live-action fairy tale era? Fans are holding their breath, but opinions are divided. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications for more deep dives into Hollywood's most jaw-dropping stories. Trust us, this drama is far from over, and the twists will only get wilder from here. Stay tuned.